live.
Don't you love it when he talks to himself?
He's talking dirty to himself there, you know.
Oh, watch it.
Are we on?
It's old age, you know. All this talking to yourself around old age, mate.
You should be.
We on?
You should be okay.
Well,
All right, you're good to go.
all right. Hold on here. Yes, we are live. Okay. You ready to go, Christopher?
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Oh, we got a
Have
few
my hot
folks
water bottle on standby.
All right. On my count, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to On the Air with Indian River Hauntings. I'm your host, Larry Lawson, along with my partner in crime and co-host, Christopher Huff in County Durham, England. And there's Chris waving everybody. And, of course, we have my best buddy, Ryan, my son, Ryan, in Orlando engineering this whole thing. And I want everybody to say happy birthday to Ryan. He'll be 22 years of age tomorrow. So happy birthday, brother.
You don't have to give out my personal information, Dad.
I did, though, didn't I? And let's...
Family feud time, that
Family
is.
feud time. So, yes, it's Ryan's birthday tomorrow, and I don't mind mentioning it because I'm awful proud of him. And we got Mike Maxwell Spanky's out there, and Dan Squatch is there, so we're going to have ourselves some fun tonight. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a wild and crazy week. I know, Chris, now have you guys plateaued over there with this in England yet?
No, it's going stupid still.
Yeah, it's getting a little tough here, folks, and we hope that everybody is practicing social distancing, doing the smart things to put a cap on this so we can put a hold on this mess and help it go away. But until then, we're all stuck inside. Felt a little bit bad. Our good friend Ike Enzi out there in New Mexico had to do an indoor program on his show with the Judge Garcia. Great show, by the way. Which leads me into the shout-outs. I want to say hi to Ike Enzi at IDK Paranormal, one of the best shows out there on YouTube, and I really recommend, if you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out, IDK Paranormal on YouTube. Hit subscribe and like. Great show. You'll really enjoy it. He had a great show on just the other day, so you can catch it on YouTube. I want to say hi to...
Except, of course, have you noticed he never lets Christine get a word in?
Oh, I'm not going there. No, I'm not.
He never does. He never lets her get a word in.
I'm not going to go there. But anyway, hi to Ike, hi to Christy and his wife, Deb. Great fans of this show, and we're huge fans of theirs, too. Want to also make mention of Chris's channel, Spirit Research Northeast. You want to see some really terrific programming, go to that one. He doesn't like me talking about it, but I'm going to.
If you want to see some really good stuff, don't go there.
I'll go there. It's Spirit Research Northeast, folks. Go there. Want to say hi to Nikki and Sherry at Doodlebug Dowsing, the only people that we get our Doodlebug, our dowsing rods from. If you go to them at www.doodlebugdowsing.com, you can see their entire selection of dowsing rods, and I highly recommend you do that. Hi to Pete at Paradolia Brewery, our favorite spot in Sebastian to go. We're anxious to get back there and do some more investigating and drinking some of their beer. Unfortunately, they've been closed down, haven't been able to get their beer.
No, I've never tried any either, so it's just not on. I don't think I will be able to either, will I? I don't think they do it over here.
Yeah, unless things change up pretty dang quick here. Got any shout-outs you want to give today, my friend?
I don't think there's anyone watching from my side.
Well, Deb from Orlando may be on, or she may be there, and I know we're going to see a couple folks that'll crop up later that they do when it's a little bit more reasonable time for them to watch. But we got Dan and Spanky both say happy birthday, Ryan. You there?
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's got his head down into the books for his studies.
Yeah, he's got finals coming up, so he better be studying. Beer challenge is going to be kind of mild tonight. I'm kind of, we're not getting out, but I do have my stash of Angry Orchard hard cider. I really have an affinity to hard cider. It's really very mild, only 5% on the alcohol level. Nice, easy drink. So I'm just going to kind of sip on this as we go tonight. And Chris, you don't happen to have any beer, do you?
No, but I've got a nice glass of water.
Yeah, Chris will tan under the weather, folks. So we're going to have to. Scottish Outdoors is saying he's here, Chris, and says you're glad you're feeling better. So he obviously knows you've been a tad under the weather.
With the hot water bottle.
There you go. But I'd be really curious, anybody out there that's watching, I'd really like to know what you've been doing for our passion, if paranormal research and investigation, if anybody's gotten out. I have not yet. I'm kind of getting the itch to do it. I don't really want to go out and mix it up with anybody right now. But if anybody's done anything, I'd sure like you to mention it on the chat here so we can talk about it. If anybody's been out there done any work, I don't suppose Dan Squatch has done any Bigfoot hunting, but I'll hear from him in a second, I'm sure. But yeah, if anybody's had anything happen up there, we'd love to hear about it. Things are pretty well shut down everywhere. Nobody's got any events going. Those events that were going have been canceled, and we're pretty well shut down here in the States until the end of the month at least. And I'm thinking end of May before we get back to normal.
I'm thinking end of October.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is going to blast away like crazy for a while.
Well,
so the thing, peoples, is don't be in a hurry to get out.
Yeah.
Let it burn out and let it rebound up and then burn out again and then go out.
Yeah. So please be careful. The only way for us to beat this is to work together, keep away from folks, don't spread it, don't catch it, isolate, and we will all get through this together. And hey, that's why we're here
drink
tonight.
Loads and loads and loads of moonshine. That's my idea. Because that's going to kill anything, let's face it.
That's true. Well, tonight I kind of wanted to talk about, you know how it goes. We'll go off into a couple different directions.
But I want
to talk about ethics and investigations. And this is different than rules and structure. This is just flat out ethics. And I'm going to tell a quick story. I'm not going to use any names because I'm not looking to get myself in any hot water, but there was
Come on, what did I do when you came over here? Come on.
Wasn't you. It was in this country. It was in this state, in fact, a very famous haunted location in this state. And I was actually going to take a group of people to this location. And I called the folks that were in charge of it. And they flat out said, we no longer allow folks doing paranormal research and investigations in our facility. And he was kind of pretty aggressive with me about it. I said, well, okay, what happened? He kind of mellowed out a little bit. I guess he realized he was being a little too hardcore. And he made the comment about they had a group come in. It was a well-known group that came in and showed a complete and total utter disrespect, not only to the facility, but the staff. They acted like they owned it. And for that reason, they won't allow folks to go in there anymore and investigate. So that story kind of got me thinking about where I wanted to go, where I thought we'd go tonight. I want to talk about ethics and how we conduct ourselves and how we treat other people during these investigations. You got any thoughts on that, Chris?
Well, I've had it happen to me. Exactly the scenario that you're talking about. And that's a place that I'm not going to mention the place and I'm not going to mention who did it because that's unprofessional.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd been investigating there for 4 years and they let someone else in because they thought we can make some money out of this, and they started trashing the place. So, knocking things over and running around, making a mess, leaving a mess, damaging things, and then that was it. No more paranormal investigations for anyone.
And I'm sure a lot of folks that have been doing this for a while have heard similar stories. I know another place that was, I want to say somewhere, Tennessee, North Carolina, somebody went into a place and totally trashed it. Well, that's, I think, really something that we've got to kind of police ourselves on that. And I think that really begins with what is the motivation. Sue Cunningham's here. Hey, Sue.
Welcome. That's one of mine. Hello, Sue.
Yeah. Still awake here in this corner of the UK. Well done for being on, Chris. You're tough up there. You're tough up there in the north. Scottish Outdoors talks about having an industrial unit that he builds cars in, and his father worked in it, and that unit has happenings in it too. So I'd be interested in hearing about that, Scottish. So, but anyway, getting back, I just didn't want to leave anybody out there. So I think as I was saying, this whole issue has a lot to do with people's motive for getting into it. What do you think?
That's where we come back to why I detest television paranormal shows, because they see the television shows and they see them running around and screaming and doing what they want and running here, there, and everywhere, and something happens, and if it doesn't happen, then you start being abusive, etc., 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 and they copy it.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. There's no, what it comes down to in the first place with any investigation is it starts from respect, and it starts from respect for each other, for yourself, for the place, for the staff, for the spirits. Respect all the way through. And if you stick to that and just say, is this showing respect, then do it. And if it's not showing respect, then you've got to start saying, what, right, then this can't be right.
So I know you do a lot of battlefields. I do a lot of historical buildings and things myself. But let's for a second talk about doing a home. Okay. I know you've done a few. Certainly we have also. Where would this issue? Where would the ethical issues begin here? How should we begin going into a home? What sort of ethical considerations do we need to look into before we would go into a home?
Depends from which perspective you're talking, really. If you're just going in there to see if something's happening with your equipment, then you've got a little bit more latitude than I have if I'm going in to actually do something about it.
Ah, well said, well said. And that's one big topic I want to get into, and I know we've touched on a little bit in the past, but that's making promises you can't keep.
Yeah,
but,
that's the biggie.
Yeah. My big thing is before going into a facility or a home, wanting to know what's happened there. I mean, if you're just going to take somebody's word that, I've seen a full-bodied apparition standing at the foot of my bed, but you've done absolutely no background work to prepare for that, are you really doing anybody any favors? It sounds good, it sounds scary, but has this person, does this home have a history of it? Was there any ever tragedy there that may have occurred? Does this person have other issues going on in their lives that you ought to know before you go in there?
That's a big one. And what medications are they on, if any?
Mm-hmm.
And what are their recreational habits?
Yes, yeah. not only with mind altering items, but also their habits spiritually too.
Well, you walk into a place and you can start. You're a cop. You walk into the place, you start assessing. You see the bong pipe on the table, and you immediately start thinking, we might have trouble here.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, Spanky just came up and said, treat places as if you own it and behave professionally. I want to talk about what that means in just a second. But society now has a disposable attitude. He's right.
It has. It absolutely has. It has. People have got no respect. Full stop. Everything is just buy now, dispose of later. Then you get another one. And this is completely wrong.
Well, doesn't that go back to the motive to somebody doing this? Are you doing this just for fun? Are you doing this just for...
We're getting back to one of the arguments we've had right at the beginning, and it always comes back to it. Why are you doing this? And if it's just for fun, bugger off and find one of these haunted house attractions and just wander around it.
Or go to a structured type of event, but don't go into somebody else's home.
For God's sake, don't think that you know everything and form a group and then just go and bugger around and play silly songs in someone else's house.
Let's touch on that for just a second, and I think that's a huge one. Getting groups together, and some people I do believe have a their motivation isn't bad when they start, but they just don't understand it. They get a group together, and it happened to us in our early days. We had people that would just do whatever the heck they wanted, and it didn't bode well with some of the folks that whose places that we visited, they didn't see people that acted like they cared. And I think that's part of the ethical issue. You've got to act professionally. Spanky brings it up here a second. Behave professionally. What does that mean exactly? That means
it means behaving like you would in your own house with your parents there.
Exactly. And
It's absolutely, well, then for you and me it's like that, but some people would just sit around with the genitalia hanging out and smoking on a bong pipe and abusing the kids, and that's just what they do in front of their parents.
Exactly.
So,
Dan Squatch just gave me a laugh and says he wants to know what bugger off means. Come on, Dan.
Come on, man. You know what I mean by bugger off.
He's trying to get you to say it, is what he's doing.
It's definitely an RAF term, bugger off. As in keep on buggering on as well.
So we'll just leave it at that, Dan Squatch. How's that, buddy?
If he doesn't know by now,
Yeah, we got to keep this family friendly. That's right.
Need a southern
Spanky needs a southern translation. Spanky, I think you know exactly what it means. So we'll leave it at that.
Oh, I've got to talk like that,
Scottish, I don't want to leave anybody out here. He's talking about in his shed, tools disappearing, lights turning on and off by themselves, shadows out of the corner of the eye. And he says he's as spiritually sensitive as a lump. Sounds like me. So he's not sure how to proceed. Do you know where he's at over there?
Well, the first thing you do is take a recording with a digital recorder with either you in the room or not in the room for about 3 minutes, and then send it to me, and we'll see who's there.
Okay.
That's the simple way.
Okay, so Scottish Outdoors, take some audio, send it to Chris, and he'll check it out for you. So
I don't know how long it'll take for me to get round to it, but as I said, I was talking to you before. I've got about 2 years worth of files to get through, so
it won't take 2 years.
No, it'll go high up in the list. I mean, there's quite a lot of these I listen to, give it a good listening to, and then just think, no, it's not worth bothering with.
Yeah. Well, getting back to what we were chatting about before, so motive and acting professionally, I think, are probably the two key points of ethical behavior at a paranormal investigation. Certainly not joking and screwing around. I mean, everybody wants to have a little fun now and then. You can't be sick in the blood.
You can't. I've never. Let's face it. You're so wound up at the beginning of an investigation, especially in your case where you've got the people that you know, but also other people coming in that you don't know, and you're always wound up because you don't know who you're getting. Let's face it. You could be getting Charles Manson in that group.
Well. So, we have actually two ways of doing it. We have our team, the FBPI, that does our own investigations. Some of the events that we do are the ones that we don't. There we go, FBPI right there. Are you the man?
Showing solidarity here.
Thank you, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and at least a scholar.
I'm a scholar anyway.
Yeah, there you go. I forgot. I kind of lost my train of thought there. FBPI.
We do Charles Manson in a group. Yeah.
But some of the events that we do, or we do bring the public in. Yeah. Sometimes we've gotten really surprised there a few times. Now, some of these, Spanky's one of them. He and his wife came to a couple of our events, and he's now one of our top people because he learned. He got the interest. He learned, and he's a fireman, so he knows everything anyway. And I mean that positively, Spanky. I mean that sincerely. Spanky's just a wealth of knowledge. So, but then we've had other people that have come in that have made a mockery of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of folks you don't always know you're going to get. But normally, when we do our in-house investigations, it's just our team. And I tell you what, I got the best team in the world. Spanky, Dan, Sherry, Nikki, Evan, Crystal. My God, I'm going to forget some folks. I know Mark and Valerie, everybody, and Ryan. Sorry, but we've got a terrific team. So when we're out there, we're actually like clockwork now. It gets up, it gets going, and boom, boom, boom. And I give a lot of credit to Dan Clarkson for that because he's my field lead. But that's because we've become experienced. We know what we need to do. And we're really getting pretty good at it. And like I said, it's all because of the quality of people on the team. But you get some folks that go in there and smoking and joking, and it can be a
Yep.
real mess really, really
Yep.
quick.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean, I've had one event. I mean, you know how often I do events. They're like rocking horse shit.
yeah.
I don't do people. I can't do groups. It's just not me.
Mhm.
So we had 3 girls turn up. I say girls, young women turn up, absolutely blind drunk.
Oh, I've had that happen. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
because they thought it was just a laugh and they're just going to get drunk and just muck around. So you
Yeah.
just say, look, I'm sorry, but the insurance doesn't cover this, and you can't take part.
Off you go.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good way of getting out of anything, really. I'm sorry, but if you're in that state, the insurance doesn't cover you.
Yeah.
I think the big thing
Exactly.
is
So.
personally, people need to not just respect where they are, who they're with, but it's just respect the industry as itself. Like, you can't just come in being completely blocked off to everything. You know, being like, say like you're a skeptic, but you're like a super skeptic. You know what I'm saying? Where no matter what it is, you it will not go through to you that it could be something paranormal. You hear a voice, you're always blaming other people. And yes, like you and me, Dad, we've seen people like this in our own tours. When
Oh
you're
yeah.
coming to something like this, first of all, like we said before, act professionally. You know, you can have fun and stuff, but don't be blind drunk and all that other stuff. But
Mhm.
it's more like, come in with an open mind. You can be a skeptic. Hell, I'm a skeptic. I really am, but I believe in it. But if you can keep an open mind to the point where maybe it's something more instead of just being completely blinded by arrogance as well, it's just, you know, it can make the experience so much better for everybody. And people
True.
don't,
I, I've
Very.
some
I've always
people
said
don't understand that.
I've always thought be open minded, but not so open minded that your brain falls out.
Yeah,
You've got to have a certain um, common sense about things.
exactly.
And that comes from me, and you know how I'm about as grounded as Concord. Well, as Concord was, but Concord is grounded now.
Yeah.
But I'm not grounded at all. I'm away with the fairies all the bloody time. So, but even I say you've got to have a sense of perspective in what you're dealing with. So, like I say, you go into a house and you have a look around and you see what's the state of mind of the person asking you to go and have a look. And, you know, once they start telling you that the refrigerator's talking to them and the cat's talking to them and the bath is talking to them and the
Yeah.
upstairs cistern is talking to them, you know something's a little bit wrong. Often it's just they just want someone to talk to.
Well, now here's an interesting question. Then you're going to do a house, and you go talk to the owners of the house, the people that reside there. How far do you go to find out what their background is? How do you have a limit or a line you don't cross when asking questions about them?
I don't ask them. I don't generally need to.
Yeah.
You,
Okay.
you, you'll admit yourself you've got the sixth sense
Yeah.
of the cop. You just
Yeah.
go there and you just bloody well know. It's that simple, you know. And you just start thinking, right, well, I'll take it from there and I'll take it a little bit gentler. Most places, I mean, as I said, we come back to what I said before. It depends upon what you're doing. Are you just doing an investigation or are you doing what I do? And you've got a lot more latitude than I have in that you can go and discover things beforehand and X, Y, and Z, and you can research, and then you bring out all your equipment, and you just go and find out what's happening.
But to a point, you're right. But many people actually, because they don't understand what it is, the difference. They don't understand that, our team, um, our team doesn't come in saying we can red your house.
No,
You have that ability, but some people expect that, and there are some folks that sometimes it's because, and I want to talk about getting paid for this stuff in just a second, but some folks go in there believing they can do it. They make assertions they can do certain things, and that's what really truly worries me. And I think that is the biggest ethical dilemma that we have in this field, is making those promises. Yes, we can cross this person over. Well, can they?
Yeah, they
And what
can.
happens? Well, yeah, well, not everybody can. I can't,
Well, I'm sure
and
you
that, and
could.
that, and that, and that's what I'm worried about. And I get very concerned not only for the harm it causes to people, but also the harm it causes the reputation to the field. That's what worries me. And you've brought up yourself that you've got there's a lot of mediums that are in it for look at me, I'm
Oh
wonderful.
yeah, yeah. I will tell you that all the time.
I know.
Watch out for the mediums in groups. They'll try and take it over. Um, but I will take one point that you said about the money aspect. I have
Yeah.
never ever charged anything for anything I've done. I won't take money for
Yeah.
it.
Well, I think any self-respecting team would not ask for a fee. Now, I want to refrain. I got to back up a little bit. There's been some discussion online that I've seen in recent times where folks are saying, well, if I've got to travel 3 or 4 hours to get to this place and it costs me gas, maybe having to spend overnight, you know, what's wrong? And somebody's asked me to come help them with their problem. What is the problem with me accepting a gratuity for it? Um,
It
when
gets
you
back to what you said just slightly a little while ago. What have you promised to do?
exactly, and that's the worry. But there's a lot of folks out there that are starting. I say no self-respecting team would take money for an investigation they're doing to help someone. But there is talk out there by some groups. Hey, look, I've got all these expenses going out. I've got all this equipment. I travel this way. You know, shouldn't I get a little bit for it if I'm helping somebody out? I don't believe so. If you're going to enter this, like being a cop. I became a cop knowing I'd never be rich, but I
Yep.
did it anyway. So if you're going to enter this field, I think that is certainly something you expect. But there is talk about it there. I'm looking at some Spanky's still out there, a group of folks out there. Ike's here. Ike just popped in. Good to see Ike. IDK Paranormal Guys. He's the guy I was telling you about earlier. I'd be interested in hearing some of your points of view out there, folks. Should a team that's going in at the request of somebody to investigate their house, should they charge a fee? I will tell you up front, I don't think so. But I've been archaic in my thinking in many ways, not to mention too rigid and too strong. But I'd be happy to hear what you think about it. The last group, Spanky just came up. Oh, Spanky's talking about people without belief, and then he was able to actually help folks understand how dowsing rods work. And otherwise, Spanky loves a challenge. That's one thing I like about him. He likes to help people understand. He's really, really good at it. He's an excellent teacher. But anyway, I'd be really interested in hearing how you folks feel about that. Let's see. Gosh, as a consumer, I'm happy to pay for a skill I don't have. I don't have. Helps me understand what's happening. Okay, I've actually had tell me what do you charge, and of course I say nothing. But that's a consumer saying that. Dan is saying, how can you prove that you've helped them after getting the money? Well said, Dan. I agree.
I
And
can
that's what
actually I can answer that one.
you can. I can't, and that's what
Because
worries me.
I just tell them to walk around the house again and tell me what it feels like.
Mm.
And I did it on the last clearance I did. And
Okay, but
I don't like to hear anything about the place beforehand apart from they've got a problem. Because you'll get a history of the place, and to tell you the truth, it doesn't matter. Because it might not be anything to do with the history whatsoever. So I walk around and I'll tell them, oh, you've got something in there, and you've got something there, and you've got something there. And then only then do I let them tell me, well, we've got this, yeah, you're right about that, and we didn't know about that one. So, and then I'll do what I do, and then get them to go around afterwards and tell me, does it feel different?
what if the feeling comes back in a week?
Then I always say I'll come back and do something else.
What do you tell folks yourself when you do
I
a
just
clearing
tell
such as
them
that?
I don't make any promises. I just say I'll have a go. If it doesn't do any good, let me know, and we'll do something else.
See, and that's because you're an ethical professional in this field. And what Dan brings up is a good point. Somebody comes in, they've investigated 10 houses, they've watched every episode of a particular show. They've
Yeah,
got all the
don't go there.
gadgets. They've
Yep.
got all the gadgets. They go in and said, "Yeah, we're going to, bless the house and wave some sage around, and it'll be gone." How do you prove that to these folks that are really, and they might even have mental health issues that is causing them to see something? You come in and say, "I fixed this," and a week later, it's back. It's back. Oh my God, it's back. And that's the ethical dilemma that I see is the biggest problem in this field.
And it's not like this is like a college degree or like a legitimate job where you can actually like go out and advertise 100%. Oh, this will work, you know? It's not like
Uh-huh.
we're a
They
plumber or
do.
have a degree. I mean, they can, but it's like I said, it's not like you have a degree to show that you are 100% a professional at this. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
No. I mean,
you know what I'm
if you look
saying?
online of someone who's got a remarkably similar name to mine, who does this sort of thing.
Well, you are the master, Chris.
No, 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 no.
Well,
Well, I am actually because I have got a master's degree. So yes,
well, I just want to bring one thing up, folks. Chris and I and Ryan Poppingen, we do not claim to have all the answers. Nobody
not at
does.
all.
We are merely giving you our opinions and our thoughts based upon our experience. Dan Squatch brings something very, very valid. Mediums are in a different situation from the normal run-of-the-mill paranormal team, and he's 100% right. Um, uh, Dan's ex, for example, is gifted. You're gifted.
Cursed.
Okay, most of us are not. But I get very worried about the folks that either believe their own press or are trying to scam folks. Being a cop again,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
always looking for the con artist.
For the
And
scam.
I mean,
Yeah.
and for example, many of your roadside, I won't say all because that would not be appropriate, but a lot of your roadside mediums are not legitimate. You
Mhm.
see a sign out in front of a house. A lot of
Oh,
them are
do
not
you
legitimate.
really? We don't have that.
You don't have that?
No, we don't have this
Oh,
sort of sign outside medium. Come on in and pay me
oh yeah.
$15 or something. No.
Well, not all. There are some legitimate ones. Please don't anybody misunderstand me. But a lot of folks of a particular background um, that are known to have claimed to have spiritual abilities have long tried to con the public out of their
Oh
money
hell.
by telling things. But see, you got to understand with mediums too. Those kinds of mediums, they are experts at reading people, like I can
Right.
during an interrogation. They look for clues, they look for movements, expressions, and they're experts at reading people.
Damn.
Um,
So
but
you got all my secrets at the Golden Fleece at
I
York then.
got you covered. I
Damn.
got you. Okay.
No wonder you got drunk.
Judge, Judge Garcia is joining us. Hey, Bobby, always go with that gut feeling. I got to tell you, has saved my bacon a couple of times over the years, that gut feeling. So, Mike Spanky wants to know, do you feel blessed or cursed with your abilities? Ooh, that's a great question. Blessed or cursed with
Oh,
your
it's to me.
abilities?
I
Yeah,
thought it was
that's
to you.
you. No,
Absolutely
I have no
cursed.
ability.
Absolutely and utterly cursed.
Why?
You can't stop it. You can't stop it. You walk into a place and it's there. Nothing you can do about it. And everyone else is looking at you as though you are a moron or something from another planet. And you're telling them about the guy in the corner and they're not going to believe you.
Does the other side have any ethical guidelines when not to bother you? Or do
No,
they
not
just
really. It's sort of like having a door open and having anyone that wants to wander in.
wow. I know that Evan has talked about that.
I mean, I
And
can
I think,
slam the door pretty hard now, but now and again they catch you off guard, no matter what. When you're going to sleep at night, they catch you off guard, definitely. You just start seeing the faces and you just go away, leave me alone, bugger off. I've had enough.
okay. Since we're talking about ethics tonight, do you have an opinion on what you think the most important ethical issue is involving mediums, people with your gift, in their world of dealing with paranormal investigation and research? What do you think is the number one ethical issue?
Be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. Just be honest. Don't try and be something you're not. Don't try and be the next big movie star on the next big paranormal show. Just be what you are. And it does, honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're good, bad, or indifferent. If you're just being honest, what's it matter?
And I think that holds true with all of us, not just mediums, but all of us in this field. Be honest and upfront.
I mean, I will honestly say, I mean, I'll go to 10 places. 7 out of the 10 times, I'm absolutely useless. 3 times there'll be nothing there for me to pick up on because I'm looking at the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
5 times I'm just not up to proper form. And then 3 times I'll get things coming through properly. I can't guarantee. I can always get rid of things out of the place. That's very easy to do because I don't do it. But I just get the spirits to come through and get rid of them. Mm-hmm. Which is, it takes no ability whatsoever, to tell you the truth. But talking to them and seeing who's there and this, that, and the other, I've got to be in the right frame of mind to do it. So, like I was saying before, if I've got someone on my case from the first minute I start there, I don't believe in mediums and this is all rubbish and how do you know you're getting this and blah, 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 it puts me off because I start thinking, well, how do I know I'm getting this? And you start being critical. And once you start being critical, you just can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Couple folks, Spanky's answered or responded saying it's got to be awful hard. So Bobby Garcia says, truth will set you free every time. And Scottish says he does not know how you handle it and stay sane. Trust me, Scottish, he's not sane.
He's not sane at all. I'm not sane in the slightest. I freely admit it. I'm more around the... I'm so insane, I'm sane.
Well, do you think that the ethics of how you handle yourself at least help keep you somewhat grounded when you are working in all this?
Yeah, you have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. That's the thing. You have to be honest with yourself, and if it's not working, you have to just be honest and say, look, I'm getting nothing. Don't invent things. Don't say, oh, well, it's an abbey. Oh, there must be a monk here. Oh, I can see a monk, and his name is what's Brother Ignatius. Oh, and he's saying when was this built? Oh, he's Cistercian, and he's from the 13th century, and looking around and around. Oh, he's talking about the books on the shelves, because you've just seen they're making it up as they're going along. Just be honest with yourself. If you're seeing nothing, tell people truthfully, I'm not getting anything. The number of times I've been on these things with these team mediums, as they call them, why do they always call themselves team medium, team leader, team this, team bloody that? Why can't they just be Joe or Fred but they've got to be team medium? And they're going on about someone or other. And I'm thinking, there's no bugger here. There's no one here. It's empty. But no, they're saying, oh, and they're coming down and they're touching you on the hair. Can you feel that touching you on the hair? And you're going, oh no, don't start again. It's terrible. And I've actually been along with group sessions where it's been like this, and they've been planting ideas that they're getting touched and something's happened. And my friend's been on a certain well-known show, and he's actually seen them throwing stones in the background for somebody to say, did you hear that? That was a stone. Can we rewind that? Can we actually get that on the audio? And they've got a stone because somebody's thrown it.
So what I'm hearing is essentially truth, honesty. That's, if you can live by those standards, be honest about what you do, be truthful about what you experience. If we can do that, it's going to go a long way to help the reputation of the field.
Be prepared to stand up and get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah. Well,
because that goes if you're a medium or a paranormal investigator or a cryptid investigator or a ufologist. Be prepared to stand up and get the shit kicked out of you, but you're right because you're honest.
Honestly, that's where it's at. Now, let me ask you a question, because you've been involved with this way before the TV shows came out.
Way before.
Do you see it worse now than it was in the early days, as far as how people act on our side, the investigator side? Is it worse now?
It's a yes and no situation. It really is a yes and no situation. I think there are more people out there who have learnt by making silly mistakes, like we all have, but they've gone beyond that and they're now doing something valuable. They're getting evidence. And as long as they just say, I'm getting evidence and I'm not giving proof, because we're never going to get proof, but we're going to get evidence.
We'll get proof someday, by God.
Here we go again.
I'm sorry, we will get proof someday. I just got to
as long as they're out there doing it properly, that's brilliant. It's just given people an avenue to sort of say, oh, look, well, right, we can go and do. And it's advertising certain groups and certain people get together and they do things better. Conversely, you get the other side of the coin, which is no respect, arsing around, causing trouble, causing damage, demanding money, making promises they can't keep. And that's the downside of it all. And then, of course, then you've got the cash cow culture of the buildings, which have seen the groups coming in, and then they start saying, yeah, well, you can come here for £400 or £800 or ridiculous fees.
Sometimes old historic buildings find that as a way to keep the buildings from collapsing or being torn down. There can be a positive to that. I mean, once again, it depends on the motive of the owner.
All you usually get then are the people coming in who are saying, oh, quick, right, we'll get an investigation out of this and we'll charge 20 people $50 each. Mm-hmm. And it's going to cost us $200 to rent the place, and we'll have the rest of that money and we'll split it amongst ourselves. And that's where I really have problems. That's where I start laying down the line and people say, oh, will you come along and do the medium bit? And it's no.
Yeah.
And then they hate you forever because of it.
Do you think there's a way that we can police ourselves? For example,
you get your nice 45s with your ivory handles, and if anyone doesn't behave themselves, you pull it out and you say, do you feel lucky, punk?
Okay, I think it might be a little bit over the top there, old buddy, but I mean, once again, we get frustrated with people that make a mockery of what we do. Can we police ourselves, or are we too far gone? Is it too far gone?
I honestly don't know. I think we can only do the best we can do, and that's the simple answer. You're reading something that's making you smile.
Yeah, I got to read this. This is for a couple from Bobby, and then because it is because this is from Bobby Garcia. The TV crap has made a standard that is hard for the real guys to meet. You're right there, Judge. You guys are legit, but the masses can't grasp you like us. Well, we appreciate that, Bobby, and that's what we're trying to do. I live in a dream world. I hope, I plan, I'm convinced that someday we're going to find the answers and set this up so we can do legitimate scientific investigation. But most people laugh at me for that. And Ike jumps in saying the old ghost hunting shows only needed a female with lots of cleavage shots. Glad that's over, he said. Yeah, it is too.
Okay, Ike, that's your next challenge.
Yeah. So, anyway, policing ourselves.
Larry's getting ideas about how his group's going to evolve here.
No, it's we do something, and Dan brings us up. We do a thing called Dinner and Ghost Hunt where we raise money to buy equipment and stuff like that, and we do. but we also don't make anything that it's not supposed to be either. And we really look at it as a teaching thing. We actually try to teach people how to do it. So your point's well taken, but I think there's also a happy medium in between there. I don't think there are some people that are just out to gouge other folks, and there's other folks that now doing investigations can't do that. You just can't charge for an investigation. I haven't seen anybody talk about it. Yes or no? No, Dan, I don't want to see your cleavage. Dan says he'll show cleavage next time, and no, that just would not be. I mean, I'm scarred for life just thinking about that, Dan. So.
Only if he's got his hairy chest wig on.
So I just had a thought that just went right smack out of my head.
It was the idea of Dan showing his cleavage.
Yeah, and Spanky saying, "Please don't do that." You folks, you'd have to know these. You'd have to know Dan to really get this joke. So we talk about getting into the place. We talk about the ethics of conducting the investigation. What about the ethics of leaving the investigation? Got a couple of thoughts. Yeah, it's all over. You're done. You've gone to this house. These people have called you in.
It's not all. It's only just starting.
Okay, go ahead with that.
It's only just started. That's when you get all, from your perspective, that's when you get all the evidence and you review it. Mm-hmm. You go through your videotapes and you see, you've taken 6 hours of videotapes. You've got to sit there and look at it, and not just you, but at least someone else, and look at it and see what's happening there. And then someone will say, "Oh, hang on, back it up a second," because they've seen something. And it goes through, and that 6 hours then takes 6 weeks to process. Uh-huh. And then you've got to look at all your audio. Even the audio that's on the video, because you're getting EVPs on that. It's no good looking at it. You've got to listen to it. And then you've got your audio that you've taken from spirit boxes or God knows what. So you've got to process all that. And at the end of the day, you should be bringing out a video or something to say, this is our findings. And exactly. You should be writing it up. You should be making a report. And if you're going to a place and you're going in to do an investigation there, they should get a hard copy.
Absolutely, because they've brought you in.
Especially if they've paid, they should be getting a hard copy.
Well, we don't charge for that, but we always end up giving a report. But you're correct in all of that. But I'm talking about, okay, so you like there's one restaurant that we did, and we on our videotape a chair pulling out and pushing in. It was great stuff. So we took it back. We showed it to them. Are you done after that? Is that it? Hey, got a chair moving. Got to go. There's something going on here. See you later. Is that what we do?
But that then depends whether you can get back in or not. Because for some people, that's it. That's all they wanted to know.
That's true. I guess what I'm getting at.
The point is safety for you guys on the spiritual side as well, correct, Dad? Is that what we're trying to get?
Well, that's part of it. There's two ethics, right?
I'm trying. Make sure you keep the place clean. Just like campsite rules. Leave nothing but tracks behind.
Yeah, obviously we want to leave it as we found it. But no, what I'm really kind of talking about here is
you don't want to be paranormal twitchers. That's what you're talking about. You know about twitchers?
No.
Twitchers, they run around. They're bird watchers. They just run around if somebody's got a new species, and they sort of like tick it off in the book. And then they go on and find the next one. Tick it off in the book.
She's trying to say something.
and then you say, okay, here's what you got. See you later. And the person's sitting there. What do I do now? Do we have an ethical responsibility to stay in contact if they want it? Sometimes you're right, they don't. But do we have an ethical responsibility to stay in touch with it?
I'm absolutely terrible. I say after every single place I go, I've got to get some cards made. I have got to get some cards made with my YouTube channel on, my email address on, etc., etc. I forget. You know what I'm like? I've got a brain like a sieve. It's on to the next airy-fairy idea that I've got. But we should be giving them some contact.
Oh, 100%.
But they can say, any problem.
Going to all the big names places, the asylums and stuff. But occasionally they'll get into houses and they'll do an investigation. They'll disappear and not give any way for these folks to get back in touch with you if they need something else. So for on an ethical side of it, I think if we're going to go into a place, we need to make sure that we're available to them afterwards. That's what I'm getting at. Ryan does bring up a good point. It's not so much an ethical as it is a safety thing, Ryan, is when you finish an investigation, always close it properly. And I think we talked about it last week with a prayer or something.
However you do it, yeah.
Yeah. But my big thing was making sure we just don't walk in, have our fun, and then leave these people hanging. That's my ethical
Because
issue
for
there.
them, it may not be fun for them. If you think about it, it's something that they want to know. Like they're in the dark, and we're trying to provide information to them. And I think after an investigation, like say with a house, if it's like a big name place like an asylum or something, you can't really do this. But like if it's a home, you should always say, okay, we'll check back in like a week. We'll call them, be like, if everything's going good, and if anything's like at legit happens, something big happens in the house, let us know as well, and we can
Well,
try and
that's
compare
roughly
things
what
as
I've done
well.
on most of my long-term investigations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love doing 4 or 5 year investigations, and that doesn't mean they're there every weekend. It means that they'll get in touch, or I'll drop in, and we'll just see what's happened over the last 6 months. But you just keep going back and see what's happened, and you build up this folder on all this phenomena that's going on at the place, and you can start saying, "Oh, look, well, all this is happening. It seems to be really emanating from your cellar. So next time that we come back, can we come down and have a look at your cellar?"
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll say, "Oh yeah. Did I mention that the dog doesn't like going down there?" "No, you didn't mention that." "Oh yeah, the dog hates the cellar; it won't go down there." So then the next time you go there, you try the experiment with the dog. Will the dog go down there with you?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a problem a lot of folks have too. They go to a place one time and think they can walk away with all the data they need. So wrong. I mean, we're still finding stuff out. We've worked the old school in Fellsmere. What do you think, Ryan? 100 times by now?
Oh God, yeah.
And we're still learning stuff out of there. Folks, a lot of especially newer teams don't realize you just can't go in and get all the information on the first time. You're lucky if it takes you 10 times to begin to scratch the surface sometimes.
We find something new every single time we go to a place.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely sure that you're like me, that there's times nothing happens.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You just go there and nothing happens, and the next time all hell breaks loose. And then for the next 10 times, nothing happens. And then it goes bang again for no reason.
Well, at the risk of repeating myself, one of the reasons why at the beginning of every investigation, I do a complete rundown of weather, solar weather, regular local weather, moon phases, the whole 9 yards, because every time we go back, if we can find a pattern that at a certain moon phase or something, that's data. If we're having more activity in the heat of the summer than we are in the dead of winter, that's data. So
you're still thinking Newtonian reductionist materialist.
I am going to find the evidence, buddy. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
You've got to start
but you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, but absolutely.
I agree.
I can't work within a rigid framework of rules, but I will assert that there has to be this framework in existence for something to work properly.
But you can't just go to a place one time, and I think that's
sometimes
every
I have
time.
To. Sometimes I have to, because I go there and I clear it. That's it.
You're in a little bit of a different ball game.
This is why I keep saying it's what are you actually doing? Are you going there as a medium? Are you going there to investigate?
Exactly.
Now, the two can cross. I mean, often you'll go to a place and you'll be doing things around, and the spirits don't want to go. There's nothing I can do to make them go. I can't say, yeah, they're going to go. They're too happy. Why the hell should they? Why should they leave their house? So, I can't guarantee. And then that's where you just investigate and gather the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
because you've got a good place to investigate.
See, and that's why I also believe that mediums and just regular paranormal investigators like myself, we can partner and come up with some successful resolutions to investigation
It's
as a
got to
team
be
effort.
rather like the control tower at Elvington. Was it Elvington? Yes, at Elvington.
Yeah, Elvington,
where I just said, "Have you got your meter? Check there."
Yep.
I mean, that's how it can work, but it's laxer than you'd like, because it doesn't happen in a sort of scientific way. It just happens when it feels like happening.
But see, the mere fact that it happened with us, Chris, and it happened numerous times how we work together, that means it can be done. And there's got to be happy. I've got to perhaps lighten up a little bit. I got to quick, walk around the stick up my hind end all the time, and not be so.
You love that stick.
I know, whatever.
It's permanently inserted.
But I think that there is a happy medium, and we can find it if we're willing to look at it. Let's see. Spanky brings something up here. It says 2 teams. One team gets nothing all night, and the other group gets all kinds of activity. We've had that happen, haven't we, guys? In our Bobby Garcia says, Chris, at the end of the day, you have to be honest with yourself. The rest is an unfortunate reality. Cheers. And so true, Judge, so true. All we can be, guys, as we begin to wrap up. God, the hour is almost over already.
That was a very quick one, this one, wasn't it?
Yeah. The bottom line is, folks, we got to be honest with ourselves. We've got to be honest about what we do. We've got to be honest about what our motives are. And you know what? I don't have a problem if folks want to go out and just have fun. Just understand that's what you're doing, and be ethical in a place where you're going to have fun. Don't make promises you can't keep. And I know the guys that are out here now, I know all of you, none of you would be like that. But those of you that may be watching it, just be honest with yourselves. Be honest about your motivations. Be honest about what you do. Most importantly, be honest with the people that you're dealing with, both on this side of the fence and on the other side of the fence. Be respectful of the property. Be respectful for those that you deal with. If we can agree that those basic ethical standards come into play, I think we're going to get a lot farther than we have.
I think, it should be written as part of your constitution.
Yeah.
If you're going to start having rules and regulations for it, you've got to start with a constitution. Written constitution saying, thou shalt not bugger around. Thou shalt not get drunk on an investigation. Thou shalt not bait spirits. Thou shalt treat property holders with respect. And it needs to be written down that anyone who's going to do an investigation that's going to have any weight to its findings has got to abide by those rules. And
that's where this come in. Dan says he's been trying to pull that stick out of forever. Yeah, you have, Dan, but you still haven't yet, have you, buddy? And Bobby Garcia gives you an amen with that one. Bottom line is, guys, honesty, integrity, that's what it's all about. And with that, we can maybe move this forward and find those happy mediums that we need to start.
One thing that occurs to me, that often people say to me, you're walking around, and I'm often on my own in these places. Mm-hmm. Aren't you scared? Aren't you? They say, I'd be terrified doing this. What if I saw anything or anything happened? And I'm always thinking, I'm apprehensive. I'm not scared. I'm apprehensive because I know that there'll be something will appear and I'll have a little bit of a moment, because even I get that moment. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I know it's not going to hurt me. The frightening thing for me is meeting other people. And that terrifies me. The idea of having to meet other people, living people, terrifies me. That is truly frightening.
I think you cut yourself a little bit short there, buddy. I think you do well. The only thing that gets me is I've seen a lot, but the one thing that always scares me, this is kind of a side note, is, for example, waking up, opening my eyes and having a face right in front of me. That is about the only thing that would make me flip my burger.
Been there, got the t-shirt.
Well, guys, we've come to the end of the road for tonight. Um,
Can I have one anecdote? You'll
you
like
can
this
do
one.
anything. Okay.
You can have one anecdote, all right? We because I've just remembered about Ryan was saying a little while back about well, maybe it was about an hour back about diehard skeptics and not believing and poo-pooing and doing their own thing on an investigation. Well, we had this
Right.
in a certain group I was a member of. We had one of these hardline skeptics, and he wouldn't obey the rules, and he'd wander off on his own and do X, Y, and Z. You know what they're like. Yeah, can't be told. And I was just saying to everyone, watch out for the stairs in this rather old house. There's an energy building. It's right at the top, but it might be coming down later. So I didn't let any more on than that, because if anything formed, then I didn't want to put ideas in their minds because they were like that. So I just said, there's something out there. And this guy, oh, right, that's a load of bollocks. Bang, bang, bang. Up the stairs he went. Almost a here, ghosty, 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 ghosty. And you could hear him thumping around on the top floor. 10 minutes later,
You there?
Hello? Yeah, I'm still here. 10 minutes later.
I got you now. You kind of.
It was absolutely silent for a minute. And then all of a sudden you heard thump, 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 as he came down the stairs. And his jeans were absolutely soaking wet. He'd walked straight into an apparition on the top floor and pissed himself. And we never heard from him again.
Well, that solved that problem.
That solved that problem.
Ike talks about it when he was young. He and a friend went looking for a local witch while drinking homemade wine.
That's a good one.
Boy, that was fun. He said, never again. So, yeah, we all live in...
Did they find the witch or just the wine? Oh,
I still make my share of mistakes. But honestly, honesty, integrity, that's where it's at. And with that, folks, it's time for us to call it a night. We are at our witching hour. Anything else you'd like to add, old friend?
No. It's done me the power of good, this. I'm feeling much better.
I'm glad, my friend. And folks, we appreciate all of you joining us tonight, whether or not you're watching us live or you're catching us later. Once again, you can get a hold of us. Send me an email if you've got stuff you want me to take a look at, or you got something you want to let us know. Backing up here. Ghostguy59. Forget that. Ghostguy59@gmail.com is my email. You can see our website at www.paranormalfbi.com. Check out Chris's YouTube channel at Spirit Research Northeast. What is that noise?
Oh, it's my hot water bottle.
Hot water, okay. But Spirit Research Northeast, if you're enjoying this show, please share it with others. Hit subscribe, hit like, hit that little bell so that you know when we're back on the air. And you're going to be seeing, I think, a little surprise coming up over the next few weeks. I've got something planned that's going to be coming up on our YouTube channel.
Don't tell me you're pregnant.
Oh, you figured me out.
Damn. No, it's that stick coming out, isn't it?
But no, you may be seeing some other stuff coming up on the channel, so hit subscribe and like. I think you're going to enjoy what you might see. And we're going to be out of here tonight. Looks like folks are bailing on us too. So thanks to everybody tonight. Ike, watch IDK Paranormal, guys. Got to see that show. Dan Squatch, Spanky, Scottish, Judge Garcia, thanks everybody for being here. We're going to see all of you next week. Join us for another tantalizing bit of conversation. And was that a word? I don't know if I made that up.
Tantalizing.
Tantalizing, yeah. Tantalizing. Thank you, Ryan. At any rate, join us next week, folks, for On the Air with Indian River County. And until then,
Hauntings.
We'll see you on the other side. Have a good night.
He's losing it, isn't he? He's losing it.
Okay.